Hugh of the FPC Virtual Channel, and you are tuning into really interesting, really truly interesting experience that I just recently had. I got to this website known as Pixcap, but how did I get to Pixcap? I found it on YouTube, and what's so ironic about it is that I was using an actual site like this that is available for anyone out here and for people who are into animation. So what is Pixcap? Pixcap is an AI based or AI web based animation software, and it has much more than meets the eye, even more than what I saw in the previous website that I was talking about, which is known as Deep Motion. So I've been utilizing Deep Motion for a while. I would say about a good 6 months or so, more like a beta user. So I'm been beta testing, trying it out, testing to see what's going on with it, if it works out for me, or whatever the case may be. And then here comes this site slash AI-based, how would you say, cloud-based animation software. And it was kind of interesting to watch the video, but I didn't realize how really useful this tool is until I decided to use it. So if y'all folks want to check it out, come dive into this video. This is really going to be interesting. Now, what I was able to achieve, I'm going to show you before you go way too far into the video, because this live stream is going to probably be at least an hour or more. So I just wanted to give y'all folks that heads up ahead of time before you nose dive into it. But check out the end result of what I was able to do. So this is Blender here, right? And I'm doing this for a reason, for a purpose. So if y'all folks are not into animation for any reason other than learning, definitely check out my videos. If you're into animation for the fact that you are an animator, definitely check out this video, because this is going to open your eyes to see how useful this software is. Now, if you just curious and you want to try it out, go for it, because you never know. You might become an animator in the future just because of your curiosity. Now, if you don't know what this software that I'm using is, this is known as Blender. And Blender is free for use. It's an open source software, and it's not like that software that I just showed you. So it's not like Pixcap. It's a little different, but it definitely has animation tools built into it. The only thing with Blender is the animation tools is not that user friendly for the average user. And when you get into it, you may it might throw you off. It might take you a little time to figure it out and to understand. But let me show you, for those who are Blender users, what I could do with it. So let's go hit the back space or whatever, back frame, jump back to the end point of the frame, whatever they call that. And I'm gonna hit the play button. So what you're seeing and noticing is the hand and a wave motion. Now, some of the motion of the hand was already done previously. What I did, I went into this created motion capture software that I got from Mixamo. And by the way, this is an actual Unreal Engine 4 mannequin. So I'm prepping it for a transfer of the animation files over to Unreal Engine, so I can actually control my metahumans that I've been creating using Unreal Engine. So what I decided to do is go into Mixamo, get animation files, because I did not have my own motion capture files. Now, I did have some files from Deep Motion, and I mentioned Deep Motion, but those really wasn't that steady and wasn't the best motion capture for me. So I decided to try and double back and go into Mixamo, because I want to get something that's up, that's polished, that's really, really good. Like right now, I want to get it today. I want to get it in like 30 minutes from now, whatever amount of time it takes for me to get that animation out and get it onto my metahuman characters. because I'm creating animated shorts and I'm creating like rap videos and things like that, which I never was able to do before in the past because I didn't know how to use these animation software, and I had no knowledge of 3D in general, 3D modeling, and this was about 3 to 5 years ago. So let's fast forward to today, and now I got some animation knowledge. I kind of know how to use Blender. I'm not that novice, but I'm not that experienced as well when it comes to animation. So I can't really like animate all the body parts on my own to make it look good. I can animate the body parts of this digital 3D avatar, 3D character of an Unreal Engine 4. I should say Ue4 to make it fast. So Ue4 mannequin, I can animate the body parts, but utilizing Blender, I'm kind of limited because I can't make it look really good. I can't even do my own walk cycle without it looking janky and not that great. So these tools in conjunction with each other, working together, is mind-blowing because I can actually take the limited motion capture software files that I get from third-party software. Now, Mixamo is not limited. It has a good amount of software, but some other software tools may be limited in what they can give you. So I can take some of that and I can mix and match it, and I can bring it in to that software that I was talking about here, Pixcap. Now, the magic with Pixcap, it is mind-blowing. It's very user-friendly. And I was just like, wow. Now, one thing you have to do before you join, you have to sign up. Now, I don't recommend for you to sign up this way. What I recommend for you to do is go for the beta. So when you click get beta, it will, let's see what it does. It will get you to the website, the beta website portion, and you'll fill it out. So it's going to say something along the lines of, let me see, hold on one second. Let me right click, copy the link, and I'll show you what the link looks like. I'm not going to show you the page because I'm actually on the website. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm actually inside the website. I'm logged in. So that's why I didn't want to bring this up. But this is what it looks like. It says get access to beta. All you got to do is put in your first name, last name, email, organization if you have, / company. If you don't have any of that, like organization, whatever, company, you don't have to put that in there. How did you find out about Pixcap? So obviously it'd be from YouTube. You don't have to say it's from my channel. And by the way, oh, I forgot to tell y'all folks, how could I forget that? I just changed the channel name that was existing all the way from 2011 when I first started this channel. So my channel name is now known as Virtual Intel. So it's a total different naming, rebranding. I'm working on the rebranding right now, but the title is part of the branding. So I just wanted y'all folks to know that. I forgot about that part. So yeah, that is really great news. That is a huge change because my channel doesn't get noticed that much, but now those two keywords most definitely will draw the channel in from a great many viewers around the planet off of Google and wherever else that has a search engine. Because actually, YouTube is all about search engine optimization behind the scenes. But by the way, I just wanted to put that out there. Thanks a lot, folks, for whoever chooses to show up, whoever chose to show up, and whoever chose to subscribe to my channel, because y'all folks really do make this possible. What I do is I try to come up with videos of things that I either don't know of or stuff that I just ran into and I'm trying to learn how to use it or whatever the case may be, and I put up videos whenever I find something new. So that's what this is all about. Let's see. So how did you find it? There you go. From YouTube or my channel, whatever you want to say. What do you do? And then you can put that in there, whatever you choose to do. You're a student, animator, game dev, artist, marketing, creator, influencer, whatever. You can put that in there. So then it says, how many years have you been animating? So this is important because they want to know, are you a beginner? Are you more novice? Are you an expert? I'm more into the 3 to 10 year experience. So I have about 3 to 5 years of learning and struggling with the animation and trying to figure it out on Blender, and then going from one tool to the next tool to the next tool to the next tool. So like I said, I've never been an animator / expert. I've always been novice in trying to figure out how to puzzle things together with animation. So I mostly am good with understanding the file formats like FBX files, BVH files, transferring the files, how I transfer and pipeline them in and out of different software and get them to convert and do different things and all kinds of stuff. So I can play around with that. I'm really I'm really good at that stuff. But when it comes to other things, no. If you want me to animate your characters for you, I'm gonna use some motion capture. That's just me right now. So I'll probably have to go to school for animation in order to catch up to those who are actually granted the title animator, pretty much. So what will you use this for? So you put something in there, whatever you want to put in there for the reason why you're using it. I put 3D animation because that's what I'm trying to do, create animations. What features are you interested in? So you want to make this accurate as to what you want to pretty much showcase your interest to them. And this is all information for whoever is behind the scenes on Pixcap and picking up this information to grant you access to the beta. So you have to click this right here where it says submit once you're done that. And once you submit it to get access to beta, it's going to take a good maybe 2 hours or so. It took me about an hour to 2 hours, but I had to go onto their YouTube video that I got the video from. I mean the video from that I got the information from to gain access. So I went to their video, the original video that I watched for them, and I'll show y'all folks their video, what actual video is featured for this software. Or you can type it on YouTube and type Pixcap, and that should be able to get you to the video. But other than that, that's the beta sign up portion. You can go and check out their homepage, their blog, contact information. It's also a paid software, so you can go into the pricing and all of that stuff once you gain access and you test it out and try it out, whatever the case may be. But for now, it's in beta, so whatever the case is, you will become what is known as a beta tester if you go through this method and through this way to join. So, like I said, I did not join through the regular create an account, but I did try to create an account, but I bypassed it by asking them in their YouTube area, and then they somehow knew that my channel was asking and requesting, and they sent me an email. I don't know how they did that, because on my Gmail account, on my YouTube channel, I have a different Gmail from my main Gmail account, but they still somehow tied it together. They figured it out what channel I was from, and from the submission of my beta request, my request to become a beta user. So let me move on real quick. We'll go to the next things that I have to present for this. So yeah, we got all kinds of different information on their webpage. I believe the creators of or / development team of this cloud-based animation software, AI animation software, are from Singapore. So it says here Singapore, and then they have whatever information in there. You can go in through other things, through, like I said, the blog, the contact, FAQ. I highly recommend for y'all folks to dig your teeth into this stuff before you get into it, so you can kind of get an understanding beyond what a YouTube video can tell you. So you go into the FAQ, right click and open that up, and you can basically, if you don't know anything about animation, you can learn some stuff about animation, about animators. You can dig in and just learn whatever they have to offer, because some things you may not understand and you may have some questions. So you're not going to necessarily be able to ask every little question to the YouTube creator that created a video covering it, or the person who featured it from their actual YouTube channel. So you might not get every single answer that you're looking for. So they'll have more information in here, pretty much beyond what the average Joe could tell you. So that's that. Then we got the tutorials. So they recommend for you to dig into these tutorials because it will help you to achieve much more in it and go much further. So what I'm going to do at the moment right now is to show you what I was able to do in comparison to what I had previously had in that file that I was talking about, the FBX file, right here. So this is a FBX from Mixamo. So I can actually show you on Mixamo what it looks like. So I think I might do that because it's more visual than this one. But before I do that, I'll show you the original file. And let's try to go in and dig that up. So that one was start walking. There we go. .fbx. So when I go into Mixamo, all I got to do is type in start walking, and I should be able to find that one. So what we're gonna do, what you're gonna notice is that it's gonna be coming in at a much larger size 9 times out of 10, because yeah, it's gonna be a much larger size, and it looks like it's in a different position. No, actually, it's not much larger. Look at that. I thought it was going to be a much larger size because when I click edit for this one, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. When I click edit, for some reason, it turns it super large. And I believe that has to do with the fact that I moved this file over to to the Pixcap website, and then I imported it into Pixcap, and when I exported it, the edit is kind of weird looking. It's huge. But then when you go back to object mode on Blender, it reduces in size. So that's one thing that I noticed that is kind of weird. But I have not tried to move the exported file from Pixcap over to Unreal Engine. So I'm thinking of doing a direct move. I just wanted to see if the animation worked before I go over there and do that kind of move, because if I pipeline it over to Unreal Engine, it may actually cause a lot of issues, or I don't know, whatever. I just wanted to test it, and it may take me a long time to get it to work, because sometimes you got to go through all kinds of stupid stuff to get Unreal to play the animation, because maybe the bones are not aligned and all kinds of different things. So, or it may not be the right bone structure for the metahuman character, etc. So here is this file. So let me go to edit mode, and as you can see, it will just pop out the arms, and it's not a super large character in terms of it doesn't reset the scale. So keep that in mind. Now also, I changed the scale, I think, to some degree over on Pixcap, so that might have been my error when I was playing around and doing all kinds of different things when I got on Pixcap, because I wanted to learn how to use it. So when I try to use something from the first day that I test it, when I'm a beta tester, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna do all kinds of different things. I'm gonna try to break the rig or whatever I can do. I'll try to delete the bones. I'll just go crazy just to figure out my limits, and then I'll start to draw back a little bit, and then I'll slow down or draw back my out of control decision making, and I'll start doing things one by one to figure it out. I'm not the type that's gonna watch every tutorial video and read every little detail myself when I first start. I just want to see what it would be like if I didn't do any of that stuff, and if I was just an average everyday person who just jumped in, had no knowledge of animation or no knowledge of 3D or anything, and I pretty much do it like that just to see what that type of person would go through, and then I try to come up with ways to offer up helpful guides and guidance through my own creative tutorials that I come up with on YouTube. So that's the whole thing. That's my strategy, but I'm not going to tell everybody that. Hopefully this video doesn't get 1 million views and everybody knows my strategy, because then everybody's going to start stealing it. Or whoever is good at creating YouTube videos, y'all probably will steal it. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, it's all good. You can steal my strategies if you want. I'm just playing around. It's not really that important, that crucial. But so let's see the difference of what these two do. Actually, You know what? I got the wrong file. This was the second file that I had put on Pixcap. So that's why my mind is telling me I used the start walking. It's not a start walking file. This one is a stationary file, FBX file, and it is, what was it? Let's see. I think he's holding a briefcase or something like that. What I'm doing is undoing and going back until that character is gone. All right, there we go. So we're gonna go to File, Import. So I apologize for that. I was just thinking of something else. So this one is standing with a briefcase idle. So I'm just checking over here to make sure the automatic bone orientation is correct. As long as it's checked, you want to check that through the armature when you're importing FBX files or whatever animation files that you're trying to bring in as FBX, because sometimes the bones don't orient properly. I'm gonna bring that in. There we go. So this is the original, and we're going to see what it looks like. So here we go. See how that arm moves up? In this one, the left arm is not moving at all. And the timing is different. How's that possible? Now, I did change some other stuff, so maybe I changed the timing. Oh, I did. You know what? I changed the timing. This one's running at 24 frames per second, and this one is running at 30 frames per second. So that's one of the things that's awesome about using the Pixcap app / web-based or cloud-based AI software. It is pretty dope when it comes to being able to adjust stuff. So I'll show you that part, but let me just play it again so you can see. Look at this. So see how the arm, he's waving the arm like maybe he's waving at a crowd. Then he looks at with his right hand at maybe like a phone. And that's the part where he puts his right hand up on this one, on the original. And then he pretty much doesn't do much else. He's just moving back and forth with his arm, with his feet slightly and his head a little bit, and just readjusting his body as an idol usually does. Very, very small, slight motions. So I just wanted to get into getting my metahuman character to have more idols, because human beings obviously have a lot of idols in terms of their idol movement, and you want to try to get a lot of those type of motions besides a walk and a run or some sort of other animation in there that shows a really extreme action or something like that. So let me bounce out of here, and I apologize for going to my actual, that's my OBS Studio display, or tool I should say. So let's go back over here. We did talk about a bunch of different things. So we're going to go beyond the whole sign up phase, beyond the beta phase, beyond the information phase. So say you chose to finally sign up, you got in and you logged in. So as soon as you log in, you will be, let's see, I believe you're going to be on this page. Let's see, projects page. Let's hold on one second. Yep. So you're going to be on the projects page, and let me go back, and this is what you'll see. So you have to start a project pretty much in order to get things going. And I thought that was pretty interesting. It starts off online on the website with no projects. So you have to start up a project, and then it stores it online as well for you. So I didn't even realize when I was doing my first project, let's see, here goes my first project right here. So I didn't realize when I was doing my first project that I didn't title it. I didn't even notice that it said Untitled at the top. So I'm gonna call this first run. I don't know, something like that. Whatever the case may be, this title will be utilized when you're trying to export. So when you go to export, you click this export button. It's going to go in and use the title as your export's name. So that's one of the things that why it would be important to title it. And also, when you go back to your projects, you should be able to find that name. So hold on one second. Let's X this out. So we're going to get rid of all the things that we don't need, so we don't have redundancy going on in terms of making this live stream like I'm doing right now. So we don't want to have to keep bouncing back and forth to the same screens, because it's kind of hard for me to tell exactly where I was at, seeing the same website up there in the tab. So talking about export. So if you want to export, you have multiple options. You have FBX, GLB, you have GLTF, and you also have video. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, FBX animation as a FBX may take time to complete. So it does take a little time, maybe about a minute to 2 minutes or so, but that's pretty fast considering a lot of other software may take much longer. So it looks like that. As soon as you go to export, like I said, if you change the name, it's going to give a different name for your file to export. And that exported file, you can take it to any other third-party 3D software that pretty much is on the web or on your computer. Let's see. You can also publish to the web, which is pretty interesting. When you publish to the web, it's going to create a web URL. So when you add it to a website, it's going to go and look it up, and it's going to showcase the animation as more of a website, a version of a website. You can embed that also to your website if you have a website that you created of your own. So that's pretty cool that they have that available. So other than that, you can actually import, and that's what I did. I imported. So let's go to imports. I imported an FBX file. So you can import a GLB, which is a binary version of the GLTF, it says here, or you can import FBX. And it says make sure textures are embedded in FBX. So my textures, I believe, for my character, I believe was embedded. Yeah. So here you go here. But then when I sent it back over to Blender, it didn't look that great. See, it looks a little silver. So it looks like it stripped the textures, but it's okay. Now, the textures are only for display here. It's not really going to do anything. It's just to show that the character looks a certain way. That's all that is. So when you're doing your animations, you're not thrown off too much by its texture, lacking of texture, I guess. I don't know. Or it also could be for when you're creating a video, because you can actually change the background and stuff like that in some of these windows over here on the side. So I know I did that. I played around with the background. I played around with a lot of stuff on this this AI software for motion capture / animation. So I did play a lot with it. So like I said, create a project. Once you create a project, you probably can name the project in here. I'm not sure. So I don't know why my project didn't come up, but it should come up over here that I have a project. Okay, so it didn't come up because I didn't have a name. So I did create that first run, and you can see it's right here. Now I can rename it and I can delete it. So that's that. Now it says get started with our pre-made from Pixcap Library. So when they say that, they mean whatever they have offered in the Pixcap Library. So when you go in and you start from scratch, you're not going to have your character in yet, obviously. So when you don't have any character in there, it's not going to show anything up here in the scene area. It's not going to show anything in the assets area. It's going to be right here. So when it first starts, it's not going to have this character. It's just going to have library. So you can choose any of these characters and throw them in. Now, I do know that a lot of these characters are from the Wolf 3D, aka Ready Player Me or something like that. So It's this here, Ready Player Me. So by Wolf 3D. So you can go in and you can pretty much tailor your own character, create your own character, use a masculine, feminine, whatever you would choose. If you're female or male or whatever you want to create for your character, you go in like that. And then it's going to go in and try to create a custom made character. It's going to ask you for an image or take a photo of yourself, and then it's going to go in and try to use its own AI to pretty much calculate the metrics of your face shapes and how the contours of your face pretty much, and even your hair. And it's going to pretty much create an avatar for you that looks similar to you. So that's pretty cool. If you want to do that, go for it. Highly recommend for you to try it out just to see what you can come up with. If you don't have your own FBX file, go for that. If you want to get stuff like what I have in terms of playing around with metahumans and all that, and you want to create animations for your metahumans, I recommend for you to go for a Ue4 mannequin and through a third-party Ue4 customization. So how I did this, I used a third party, I believe it's called Terribilis or something like that. So I had to actually dig into my file folders to find it because I don't know it by heart. I don't remember every little detail of what I'd done in the past, but I did find a way for me to get Mixamo files pretty much, and to utilize Mixamo files through, how would you say, getting Mixamo files onto Unreal Engine. So the way that this developer slash whoever they were, 3D artists or 3D modeler slash animators, they went in and they dug in hard, and they went in and they created Ue4 mannequins, and from their Ue4 mannequin, whatever they did with the Ue4 mannequin, they made it so that it's available to transfer the Mixamo files, and through sending the Ue4 mannequin rig, the bone structure, over to Mixamo. Once you export from Mixamo, you can move it over to Blender or any third-party 3D animation software, and you can do reanimations, which they didn't feature that, but I did some reanimation editing, and I figured out a way to move it over and pipeline it back to Unreal Engine. But what they did, they just got you where you can take the Mixamo animation, mocap animation, and then just bring it straight over to Unreal Engine. So I'm doing a little bit more to it. Like you saw with the hand motion, I changed some of the stuff, and that's where Pixcap comes in. Now, like I said, it has pricing on Pixcap, but it's free to do a lot of the adjustments of changing pre-designed animations. So that was mind-blowing to me, that I could go in and do that for free and export it. And I highly recommend for the developers to stick to that part for free, because that will draw in so many more animators and so many more people who will want to use it for good. Like they would just want to use it all the time, because it's like going on to Blender to try to adjust your animations. Obviously on Blender you can do it for free, so you should be able to adjust your animations with the software as well for free. I mean, the only difference is that they have a lot more user-friendly software, which I'm going to show you through this video. But let me stop talking and get to that part that I was telling you about. Let's see, because my mind will start drifting and then I'll start losing track of what I have to offer for y'all folks in terms of viewing pleasure, for you to get to see what will be beneficial for you for this part. So let's go to Mixamo. I'm not sure if it's in here. I'm just looking it up, but sometimes it's kind of hard for me to find it. And I do apologize for doing a video super late, but sometimes it's hard for me to sleep, and this is like the best time in my house for me not to be disturbed. So that's why I do live streams really late sometimes. So let's see, deep motion. I remember it was in a deep motion folder, or it could be in an Unreal Engine folder. Let's go to Unreal Engine. Yeah, here it is. So what you want to type is Mixamo convert, 2 separate words. So type that into YouTube and see what you come up with. or in Google. So Mixamo convert. The developers, I believe it's on this website known as Terribilis Studio. So yeah, I remember that part, Terribilis. So you go into that and they'll hook you up for sure. So try to get this Mixamo convert software or Mixamo converter software. The most latest version looks like version 1.8. So by getting this will pretty much leapfrog you into a whole nother universe when it comes to utilizing Unreal Engine in conjunction with Mixamo. And then you can start doing the stuff that I'm able to do with it, like I just showed you, because this will take you to another level for sure. And you'll be able to start creating with Mixamo, creating short films. I don't know if you're able to do it now with whatever you have on your own for now, but it would behoove you to try it because I'm going further and I'm going to keep going with it. I don't have a motion capture suit. I know I have the knowledge of how to use them pretty much because I've been watching tons of videos for years. So I know how to use them, the motion capture suits and the software in conjunction with the motion capture suits, but I just can't afford it. So that's why I stick to Mixamo. And they have the best. They have the best motion capture that I've found so far. Mixamo online. Of course, there's other paid software and software that's out there that you can use, but Mixamo is free. So like I said, if you want some free solutions, hey, you got to find it. That's the whole thing. It takes some time. It might take you 3 years to find something, but if you following the right people on YouTube, you're following the right people online, you're going to find stuff faster. So that's the whole thing with me. I try to create my YouTube channel so I can help people find stuff as well. So if you want to go and find more stuff than what you see in this video, go check my actual YouTube playlists. And in my playlists for animations, for Blender, for anything that I do, for Unreal Engine, it's all the stuff that I pretty much went through over the years. And whatever I found that's useful, you're going to find it there. So you basically can fast forward past all the time it's going to take you to find little intricate stuff, and you'll be able to find it in those videos. Or in those playlists, I should say. So say you wanted animation in here. So let's go in and type in that, it wasn't the walk thing. What was the name of it? Let's go back. See, that's why you have to be organized because, yo, you're going to lose track of what you're doing, what you did, and it may take you longer. Most definitely when you're doing videos, doing live videos or something like that, you're going to lose track of what you need to lead people to. And that's not really the best, but for live, it's okay because, hey, live videos are much longer. So let's see, Ue4 mannequin, what was the name? Standing with briefcase idle. Okay, so let's look that up. Standing with, I'll just type in standing with and see what that does. And try to find it. Old man idle, no. Standing with brief. Oops. Briefcase idle. What? That didn't even come up. Let's just put in standing. Okay, standing idle. There we go. Let's put in briefcase. Briefcase. Did I spell it wrong? No, I didn't. I don't think so. Idle. Let's just type in idle. Okay. That's the standing idle. It may take some time to find it because, like I said, it's going to take you time to find stuff. That's one thing about YouTube, about anything out here online. It takes time. You got to dig and figure out stuff and puzzle things together. And that's one of the things, you know, it's not like college, or it's not like high school or anything like that that's well organized, that did all the digging for you. The teachers pretty much will do the curation, which is they take your syllabus, put it all together. They'll go and find the exact things that you need to know. They do all the hard work for you pretty much, and you have to do the siphon filtering of the information in school. That's how school pretty much is formatted and how it's worked. So the program of school, or programming of school, is pretty much user friendly because they do all the hard work of finding and sifting through and filtering through all the information to find out what you need to know. And then they target it and they tell you exactly what you need to dig for. But when you're online, there is no school format. There is no program. You got to go in and do it yourself for the most part, unless you watch a tutorial video that guides you all the way through everything. And not all tutorial makers will actually get you to what you need to know, because some people are just trying to learn how to become helpful and trying to learn stuff while they're pretty much, maybe they're guiding you, teaching you, doing tutorials or whatever the case may be, doing how to, but not everybody knows the same stuff. So what you might be looking for, they might not even know about. So that's the whole thing. You know, it's tough. It's really tough. So I can't find it. But it's here. It's somewhere in here. It may be hiding in places unknown, pretty much. And maybe it is here, but I'm not seeing it. It's okay. So say you wanted something similar to that. Let's get the dwarf idol. I don't know. Very similar. So there it goes. We got the Unreal or Ue4 mannequin. He's doing this kind of thing with his hand. Not really long. It's not that long. If you want to make it longer, you can actually do that. You can take where it says trim and go all the way to 150 and then drag it out to -50. And let's see what it does. So he's pretty much looking at his finger and his nails much longer. So if you want to do that, you can do that. You can play around with all this stuff. You can speed it up, you can slow it down. If you overdrive it less, it's going to go slower. If you overdrive it more, it's going to go fast. So it's like changing the frames per second pretty much. Very similar to doing that. Here goes the slow version. Slow-mo. He's moving in slow-mo. Sometimes slow-mo might be good because you might want to be able to, you know, demonstrate something different in your animation. I don't know. And then sometimes fast might be super good because in a lot of animations for animated characters and stuff, they in Hollywood, they make the characters move very fast, so the eye candy factor is enhanced pretty much. So a lot of that is cartoons. If you notice, try to watch old Hollywood animations or even a lot of the new stuff and look at what they've done to try to figure out what works well with drawing in the audience and stuff like that. That's what I recommend. So I've been watching animations and animated films, and since I've been a little kid, I've been watching a lot of it. So it's pretty much in my head, but I just have to figure out how to open it up and tie it into my actual work that I'm doing. So there you go with that. So you wanted to download it, you download it, boom. So this is not an actual video about Mixamo, but this is a way for you to get the file. So you go to download. Once you get this file, why do you want this file? Well, because you want to be able to change some of the animations that you see on it. So you want to be able to change some of this, add something to it, omit something away from it, or whatever the case may be. And when you do that, you can make it unique. And then when you tie it in for MetaHuman, it looks a little different. And it can maybe bring more appeal to the audience because maybe you wanted to do an exact thing that you wanted it to do instead of what you see the motion capture file was presented as. So let's do it over here for, I don't know, tests. Let's go and jump into the Ue4 mannequin. I have more stuff over here. So we're going to go and save it. That one already exists. So it already exists. Let's go in and I'll show you, just assume that you downloaded it. If you've never done it, that's how you do it. And let's go in from here and look for the dwarf idle. Where is it at? Right here. So what you can do is drag and drop, which is pretty dope. So we're going to go over to that website and running through the import portion. So you just started and you want to import yours. Like I said, you create a new project. Once you get your new project up, then you can start doing all your importing and all of that stuff. So let's go to this. Let's start a new project. Let's do that. Let's call it second run. So that way I don't mess around with the other one. Second run. There we go. So this is how it looks. All right, so we got the background stuff over here. Before I had the sky, so if you want to turn on the sky, you can just go to Skybox, hit the little blue tab. You can get rid of the ground if you want. If you don't like all of this, more like the grid. Now, navigation is pretty user-friendly, but we'll use the grid for the navigation so you can see. All you need is to hit the alternate key on your keyboard, and then you can use your left-click mouse button. You depress it, and you just rotate. Or you move it left to right, and it rotates. You move it up and down, and it like goes to the top and the bottom view. And then you move it left to right, and it rotates, makes 360-degree rotations. And then move it up and down a little bit, and you can change the view of the horizon line. And that's about it. Oops. And I brought up that by mistake off of my Windows key. All right, so let's move it in. Let's import it. So we're going to click the import button in the upper right corner. And we just have to find that file folder. This is, like I said, why it's important to be organized. I wish I did have a quick way to get into it, but the quick method went away. So I have to go and dig into my C drive, unfortunately, because I reformatted, not reformatted, but I pretty much use Windows 11. I'm a Windows 11 user. I used to be a Windows 10 user, so whenever the Windows 11 update went through, it moved my 3D objects folder over to my users area, and it's no longer on the quick file folders. So that was a bummer, because it makes it very hard for me to maneuver around my file folders. And I may be able to create a shortcut for it over here. I'm not sure. I never tried it, but maybe I can do that. So the dwarf idle is here. We open it, and it takes a little while for it to import. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see if this is on. Okay, yeah. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna pull up my turn off my audio on my smartphone, and I'm gonna see if y'all folks have any questions. Sean Ram Kellawan said very interesting. What up, Sean? Thanks a lot for showing up. I appreciate you. And whoever else is out there watching. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, this is live. So here we go. So we're going to scroll in. In order to scroll in or zoom in, you use your scroll wheel like most animation software. In Blender, you're going to use the shift and the scroll wheel and depress it and slide it down to move it down. But with this one, you don't need the shift button. You just depress the scroll wheel, and you can go up and down with your mouse, and it moves it up and down by depressing the scroll wheel. Like I said, alternate, rotate to the left or right with the left click mouse button, and then you can rotate 360 like that. So again, alternate key, depress it and hold it, left click mouse button, depress it and hold it, and then you can do all of that. So now this, I'm telling you, the animation is amazing. It's not hard. So what I want to do is I just want to get rid of these bones that I see in front of me. How do you do that? Well, if you notice over here where it says assets, these are the assets that came in terms of the files that are built into your project. So an asset is basically a 3D file that stores all the data that you need for it to be able to display on the screen. So that's what the assets do. They are helping you display whatever is showcased on the screen in the viewport. So sometimes you can manipulate the assets. You can click it and it highlights the object or whatever, the 3D object, or maybe the rig, which is the bone, the digital bones of the character, things like that. So we're not going to do any of that right now, but that's the asset area. And you already know what the library is. You can drag a character into your viewport. If you drag it, it's going to showcase itself in the viewport as it looks from whatever it was created as. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go to this last tab in the upper left area, and it says scene. When you go to the scene, you're going to notice you have a hierarchy. So it starts out with little arrows and things like that. So in Blender, if you ever use Blender, this is very, very similar to how Blender has the hierarchies for its bone structure and things like that. And actually, Unreal Engine is a lot more better to talk about because in Blender, it doesn't necessarily showcase this everywhere. So you'll find it in some places, like when you're trying to do the shape keys and things like that, or not shape keys, the what do they call those? The keys itself. So when you're trying to lay down keys for the animations, and you say you wanted to create multiple keys and things like that for animations, you can go into the graph editor and things like that, and you'll be able to see some of the bone hierarchies and things like that. So what you want to do here is click this little arrow, and that's going to bring down some of the hierarchy. Now, in my previous session, it had all the hierarchy shown and displayed as soon as I went to scene. So for some reason, it's not showcasing every little bone. So I'm showing y'all folks all the bones here. Now, one of the things you probably won't realize that you can do is you can hide stuff by going to the far left over here. So if I go to the far left, I can click this little tiny eye. It's a small tiny eye icon. It doesn't look that much like an eye like from a long distance from looking at it. But if you go and you look at the screen really close, you'll see it looks like a tiny eye. So when you click it, the object will pretty much go away that's in the zone of that eye, or that this eye is pretty much set out to make it invisible or make it see-through. You can also click on any of the bones, and when you click on the bones, it will tell you what bones it is that you're selecting by seeing a blue highlight. See, so when I select a particular bone, it highlights over here in the left in the scene. So you can click the eye there to make that go away. Click the eye there to make that go away. I just want to make things go away that I don't want to see. And that will help you to make the animations work out much faster, because you don't want anything in your way visually, pretty much. And there you go. And you get to see through the bones automatically. On Blender, the difference with this is when you're trying to do stuff like posing the rig, you have to go in on the far right on one of the modules, and you have to know what module to open up to pretty much tell the software, the Blender software, to send the bones to the front. So the bones generally by default are not showcased. So let me show you on Blender real quick. See, there's no bones. You can't see through the skin pretty much, or the 3D model body when you first start out on Blender. So you would have to select the body, or not the body, the bones, I should have said. So you got to select the bones / armature. It could be called bones, it could be called armature, pretty much the same thing. And then you have to go to the armature tab over here and go to viewport display. And then you have to select in front. So that's a whole lot of steps that you got to do in Blender in order to get it in front. See that? So let's minimize that. Oops. I minimized too many times. So this one in Pixcap, very similar to Blender's look when you put it in front. You don't have to send the bones to the front. It's automatically there. But you can make everything go away if you wanted to. Now, if you want to make things reappear, hold on one second. I wasn't supposed to do that. Let me do Control Z. I don't want to mess nothing up, but I did that by mistake. Whatever you move in here, you can make things happen or you can screw things up if you don't do it right. So keep that in mind. So, oh, and by the way, you can play. So you can hit like the space bar and it's going to play the animation. And as you see, it's doing this animation thing. Now, when you first start, everything's going to be set up by default. So anything for keying animations or whatever, all of this stuff is set up by default. So the auto key is shut off just like on Blender. On Blender, they don't have a loop option, but over here they do. So that's a little different. And on Blender, it's known as a timeline. This would be the timeline controls. They have start and end, and they have FPS. So if you want to find those on Blender, pretty much you have to go to the left side, this little small tiny tab that has a little dark dot. You click it and it gives you all the different options to change the modules down here. So these are all modules that you can control for different things that you want to do in the viewport. So whatever 3D asset function you want or any kind of functional controls that you want to change, you can go in there and adapt to pretty much to change the viewport how you see fit. So you can control what's within the viewport. So if you want to change something like the timeline or dope sheet or driver, nonlinear animation, graph editor, you have to go in through this way. So we're going to change it to the timeline, and it's already the timeline pre-selected because I believe Blender defaulted, but you can save and store your Blender file and have it come up pretty much every time you start a new Blender file. You can have it come up and showcase whatever you want it to have. So you can pretty much customize everything on Blender. That's one thing that's different from over here on Pixcap. On Pixcap, you pretty much don't have free for all control on the customization. So one of the only things that I believe that's changeable is just the sizing. Like you can move it up and down. You can scroll these left and right, scroll this left and right, and all it does is just resize. It doesn't scale it down, like it doesn't change the actual scaling of the character model or the rig, but it will resize how it looks in the viewport. So it's bringing down the whole entire scale of the viewport, not the actual character. So keep that in mind right there. And it has limitations, so you can go far right, and then this is the furthest left it goes. It doesn't minimize or go away like that, but you can hit this little arrow to minimize that side. You can hit the arrow over here to minimize that side, and arrows here and here, and then you maximize the screen like that. So these little blue arrows maximize and minimize the sidebars pretty much. So that's one of the things you can do. So let's go back to Blender just to show you the difference. With Blender, you can pretty much do it like that. Right, left, extremes, and up and down. So you just move the mouse to like a portion of the screen where you see the little arrows displayed, and then you can move it. But if you go too crazy on Blender, you're gonna hide some of the modules, and it may be very, very difficult for you to bring it back up. So the only other way for you to bring it up most of the way, if you don't know how to do it, is to go and start a new file or bring back the file that you pretty much was working on. But that gets kind of hairy. But I just wanted to show you the difference between that, the functional part of the screen differences. So on Blender, here we go with the auto keying. So this is the auto keyer, and keyframes is what I was supposed to be saying over in Pixcap. Sometimes I forget that stuff because, like I said, I'm not the best at animation, and I'm not an animator. I'm more of a student still, novice, pretty much learning a lot of this stuff. But I'm pretty fast when I learn, you know. But animating the whole thing, no, I'm not gonna do it myself. It's just very tedious and it takes a lot of time, and it's hard, especially on Blender. Now, if you flip your script, flip your mind, and you go over to Pixcap and forget about all the stuff that you had to go through to learn animation on Blender. Don't forget everything, but forget the tedious stuff. When you get over here, you're gonna be like, oh shoot, it's not as tedious anymore, because I don't know, it's just the viewport's different to some degree, and a lot of the animation stuff is different. Now, one thing I noticed that I can't find for some reason is when I was trying to play the animation, I don't see the keyframes. So there's no keyframes that show up on my previous animated character. So that was one of the things I was like, yo, this is kind of weird. Like, where's the keyframes at? So now on Blender, let's flip back on Blender, it may not show up as well. So when you look, all we got is one keyframe, right? I'm highlighted on this character here. It has animation. If you hit play, hold on, let's go back. You hit play, it has animation, as you can see. That was my adaptation that I did. But in order for you for it to display on Blender, for the animation to showcase itself, you go over here to the object mode in the upper left corner and you hit pose mode. Now, when it goes to pose mode, if you highlight any particular bone, it will show all the animations that's built in terms of the keyframes. So these are all the keyframes. You can deselect what you don't want, and you can select what you want. Say you wanted to copy or cut or delete, you can take these out, you can move them to a different portion of the screen, and it will go crazy if you did that. So let's show you that real quick on Blender. Look, the leg is going crazy. See that? Let me show you real quick. That's one thing that I noticed about Blender when I first was experimenting. I would really do some freaky stuff and mess it up. See the leg doing some stupid stuff? That's because all of the animated keyframes from this portion in time, if you look at the timeline, it's based on timing. So this might be 5 seconds in the animation. I don't know how many seconds it took from 0 to 145, the 145th frame. But whatever was programmed in there for the keyframe animation through the motion capture file, it's no longer there. So it's going to be lacking something there, but it's going to try to throw it in here. So the motion here should not be here, pretty much. So we're going to go and undo that because it's clashing with whatever motion that was already there. And in order to understand every little frame, you would have to dissect it. You would have to literally go in frame by frame to understand how frames work. And this is, let's see. You can do it slow. Actually, I'm moving a keyframe. That's not even moving slow. You can do it slow by going one click at a time, like that. And this is showing you every single thing. So every single bone that is animated is moving at the same time for every single frame. So you would have to change the location, the rotation, and also, let's see, insert keyframe. Location, rotation, and sometimes you would have to change the scale, but most people don't change the scale. So the scale pretty much stays stagnant, doesn't do anything. but location and rotation will change for every single bone if it's already pre-animated. And all of that stuff was done with like a motion capture software, and you had no how would you say, influence in the matter of the file that was created. So say you got it from Mixamo, everything is built in, and if you change any little thing, it's going to throw it off. So keep that in mind. That may come to your benefit, because say you chose to select one particular bone and you wanted to do something different from what it previously was stored in there, then you can erase everything, and that will stop the location and the rotation for that moment in time. So I learned how to do that kind of stuff, like how to dissect the keyframes and just go into just this moment in time and knock it out the box. Like I would literally delete it. And when you delete it, it freezes. So the motion will go into static motion. So it would not move at all if you delete everything from that bone. And then you would have to start to think about, what am I going to do to change the motion? And maybe I want it to go a different direction. So now you would have to physically move it with your mouse. So you go into pose mode on Blender and go in and actually start moving the joints with your mouse. When you do that, that's going to change that moment in time, but only for one frame. Unless you are recording it, auto keying it, and you're doing some sort of a hitting the play button or something and recording at the same time. I don't know. I've done stuff like that. I was going crazy and it does not look good. So I don't recommend to experiment like that. But you would have to do frame by frame, or maybe every 5 frames or every 10 frames. And when you do that on Blender, it's really mind-boggling. It's hard for you to tell how much time actually elapsed. So how much time elapsed through that frame by frame motion, or how many frames separated from each other. So that's very confusing. It took me a lot of time and I couldn't figure it out. And even all the way to this time, years later, playing and experimenting with it, I'm not good at it. So that's why I'm not an animator on Blender. So let's go over and flip back to show you why this solves that problem in terms of Pixcap. So now on Pixcap, like I said, I can't see the keyframes, but I'm not worried about the keyframes, because when I try to add something, I'm going to see something. Now that's what changes everything. So we're going to go to auto key. We're going to hit in the auto key, and let's just hit the play and see where I want to change something. Okay, so we're going to go back, hit the play again, and see where I want to change something. Now, what I can do is go individual frame by frame like this, which on Blender, it's hard for me to do that. As you can see, it took me some time, and I was just like fast forwarding and going crazy and all that. So let's see on Blender. Let me just try it, give Blender the benefit of the doubt and see if I can do it without going crazy. So hit the play, that's that. I hit this one. Okay, so it's this one or that one. I think I jumped the gun and clicked the other one by mistake. So this is the seek frame by frame on Blender. See that? It has a little tiny arrow and a diamond in it, but right next to the play button, going the normal direction and play. This is going reverse. So this is the reverse play. This is the forward play. Then this is the reverse, what is this called? Jump to keyframe. So it's individual keyframes. It jumps back and forth. So let me show you over here. So this is the forward, reverse, and then you have the jump to keyframe and jump back. And then you have the end of keyframe, forward, and then jump back, end of keyframe. So there you go. So this is all pretty much the same as Blender. So let's go to the start and end, as well as FPS. So what are these things here? So this is pretty much where you want to start. So say you wanted to start your animation at 20. Why would you do that? Because sometimes you may have everything good from 0 and you're already pre-programmed the animation and you got that file, everything worked out good. You just want to fix one little thing in the file. So you say you want to just fix the 20th frame to the 60th frame. If you don't know anything about animation in terms of how animation really works, you want to go all the way back in time to the old school animations and learn about how flipbooks work. Because what animations is working on Blender is pretty much frame by frame. It takes an actual photo. So it's taking a digital photo of every single frame. And then it takes that and stores it on your hard drive somewhere. Every single photo of every frame. Whenever that character moves and rotates and changes position, every frame is being stored as an image. And then that image pretty much will go into an archive, maybe your temp folder on your computer by default, or wherever you want to choose to send it to. And talking about that, let's go on Blender. This is not a course on Blender and animation, but this is to help people who don't understand the difference between the two. So on Blender, you would have to go, let's pull this out over here to the far left so you can see it real good. You would have to go to where it says render properties, or what is this one? Output properties. So you want to go to the output properties. So this is basically the rendering end of Blender, where do you want your files to go? So by default, your animation files are defaulted to the temp folder, so the TMP folder on your computer. If you've been doing animations for years on Blender and you never knew that, well, shame on you, because your computer is overloaded and probably gonna crash, or maybe crashing every day because of it, because these temp folder files can become ginormous over time if you don't clean it out, or if you don't change this default on Blender. So you would have to click over here where it says accept when you hover over it, and it says open up a file browser. So when you click that, it creates a path for you to be able to access a different file folder. So you can change your default if you wanted to. Some people might not know that off the jump if they clicked it, but you can click these little arrows over here to navigate through your file folder. Whatever file folder that you want on your computer to send it to, you can do it at this moment. So we're going to click the up arrow and go to the C drive. And now we're going to change the folder to something on my hard drive. I got a 3D object folder like I was talking about. So I'm going to send it to, let's say I'll send it to the Blender subfolder that I created years back. And I send it to animation tests. And then I can send it to new. So whatever the animations that I have created here on Blender, I'm going to send it to my C drive, Flash, 3D objects, Blender, and then animation tests and new subfolders. So all of those are subfolders. When I click accept, that's going to lock in as my default, only for this project. As soon as I create a new project, this whole thing is going to reset. So if you don't want that to happen to every single project that you have, you can go to File, and I believe you go to Default at the bottom where it says Defaults, and then go to Save Startup File. When you go to that, it will save this as a startup file. So every single time, Blender's going to start up like that. Brand new. Boom. You're going to see Blender start up like that. If you don't want this particular stuff that you're working on, say you're working on a nice project and you don't want that to start up every single time, and you just want to create a default for this output, what I recommend for you to do is right click and then open up a new instance of Blender, brand new instance, and then set up how you want the viewport to look. Every little thing that you want it to show up as, to start up as. I'm just giving this as a tip for folks who are brand new to Blender. So we're going to delete the cube, and then let's go to that output. I'm going to change it to the same thing that I did. So this is like a review. Hit the up arrow. I'm going to go to users, go to Flash, 3 objects, whatever folders that you want on your computer. If you don't have any file folders that are subfolders, you want to create them. You can do that here as well. You can go to this little arrow, not arrow. I was talking about arrow because I hit the arrow here. You can go to this folder icon and you can click it, and it's going to create a new directory for you. And I believe you can delete it as well. So I'm going to delete the one that I just created. I don't know if I could delete it, but whatever. So let's send it to Blender, animation tests, new. Boom. Click accept. And now what I can do is go to file and to go to defaults and then save starter file. Let's do that again. I don't know if that went through properly. Yeah, there we go. So you want to go to save starter file, hit the blue option, and then boom. Now when I start up Blender, it's going to always show up as a default. Now all I have to do different is what file format do I want to save. So say I was creating animations that I want to output and not just a regular render. This is also your render output. So this is where you want to render an image file or something like that. So whatever is in your viewport, your 3D animation, or not 3D animation, but 3D character, you have a modeled, nice looking shape, contour design or whatever. This is where you're going to output it to as a render. So you can go and click this file format and change it to anything that you want it in terms of the different file formats on Blender. So you have all kinds of file formats, but for animations, you want video most of the way. Now, if you don't want to go through crazy amounts of time for you to render a video, I recommend for you to stay as a PNG, and then eventually you'll find a way to take those images and turn it into a video. There's a quick technique to do it, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video. It's a way where you create images, you turn the images into a video through the video editor. You have to basically select the whole full list of them when you're in the video editor, and then go in and then you turn all the images into a video. It's pretty cool how to do that. But that's the animation side for that procedure and that process. So I just wanted y'all folks to see that. Now that's a lot of tedious stuff, right? So if you don't want to do all of that, right, and you don't want to be mind boggled of how this animation stuff works on Blender for this whole UE stuff that you're trying to do, go over here. Pixcap will change it, because you don't have to go through that. All you have to do is export, and your animation will export like that. Presto. It's going to go directly to where does it send it to? So say I wanted to export this one as FBX. I'm not really sure what folder it sent it to on my computer, but I think it brings out the path. So let's see where it goes to. Now I didn't do any editing yet. I just want y'all folks to see what some of this processing and things like that you're going to go through. So yeah, it shows you where you're going to send it to. I wish Blender's rendering was that user-friendly as well, where it would show you exactly where it sent it to. That would be dope. But it doesn't do that because Blender is a little different. So here we go. So pretty much we know our path. We can create the path up here if we wanted to. We can change the path over on the left. We can hit the arrow, the up arrow like on Blender, and then change it to where I want to send it to. But I'm not going to actually send this one because I didn't do anything to it. It's just basically going to send the same exact animation somewhere else, which I don't want to do that. I just want to showcase this to y'all folks of the difference. Very simple difference right there. Very easy. Boom, boom. All right. So that cut out a lot of time, like I was going through all that different stuff. And half of the people are not going to find that technique on Blender unless they watch an exact video on how to do it. 9 times out of 10, that video was created about 9-12 years ago, or somebody that's brand new to Blender who just found out about it. And the chances of you to find that actual person's channel is slim because they're probably not popular enough for you to find it. So it's going to take you some digging to find that answer of how to do it on Blender. So like I said, boom, we're on here. Say I wanted to change something. So we go back to the animation. We're going little frame by frame, and say I wanted to make this guy's arm move up, or maybe like show that he has a muscle or something like that. So Ue4 mannequins don't have muscles, but hey, you know what I mean. I'm just trying to be creative. So say I wanted to move his arm, boom, there we go. As soon as I move his arm, as long as I'm on auto keying, he's going to showcase some change in the animation side of the curves. So these are curves over here, and the graph editor will show a curve whenever you adding something different. So whether you're changing the time format or you're changing and adding a keyframe or whatever, it's going to show up over here. So that's why I was saying it's going to show you when you do something to the avatar or model or whatever you have in here. So that's that part. Now, it won't be a great difference because I did not change it at any other point. I only added one keyframe, so one change. So now I'm going to move it down and separate the differential. So from here to here, I did something significantly different. I moved the arm down. So look at the curve that shows up. From this point to this point, it created a curve. So how does that benefit you? Well, just watch when you play what it's going to do. Let's go all the way back. Now that didn't look too smooth. It just moved it super fast. But sometimes super fast, like I said, in animation is good. And if you don't like it, you can change it. You can move the curve over a little bit, and it will slow it down by separation of time. See? So it wasn't super fast. Now it's a lot slower. It's that simple how to create the animations on this software, Pixcap. Now you just basically use your mind and try to figure out how you want to animate stuff. Now, another thing that I noticed on here that makes it very user-friendly. Now, you may be asking yourself, like, how did he get that to move? Well, you select the bone that you want. So say I wanted this arm to move. And as soon as you select it, whatever you have over here on the far left, these are little controllers. So you can be on the move tool, you can be on the rotate tool, or you can be in the scale tool. So that's all pertaining to what you have highlighted. So your bone is obviously highlighted. So that's going to allow you to move your bone, rotate your bone, or scale your bone. So that's how that works. So you're going to rotate on a specific axis. So you have XYZ axis. That's what these colors represent. If you go on Blender, you'll get to see the same thing. XYZ axis. So you got Y, Z, and X. Red, blue, and green. So if you don't understand it on Pixcap, you can double back on Blender to see how it's set up on Blender, because that's very similar. As you can see, I'm moving the leg right now in the X-axis. This is the red. So it's colored red, and it says X here for red. Then we got the green one. So say now I'm moving it that way, which is not realistic. Like, the body doesn't really move that crazy. But you never know. Maybe you want to do some unorthodox animations and make some crazy stuff going on. I don't know. That's up to you. But I got that going. You can play with that, do that. That's the Y-axis. And then we got the Z-axis. So the Z-axis is basically rotating over the horizontal. It's rotating it horizontally. Usually Z is vertical, but when you're rotating, it's going to be across the horizon. And then the X is generally the horizontal axis, but when you're rotating, it's over the Z. It's rotating around the Z axis. So it kind of switches around depending on the rotation or if you're doing a move. When you're doing a move, you're going to move along the axis that it is. But when you rotate, it's rotating on a different axis. So there you go with that. So I just created a keyframe for that move. So you want your animations to make sense, obviously, unless you want them to get crazy and zany and wild. If you want them to be wild, then they're going to be wild, obviously. So see, the arm isn't moving much because I did not create anything else in terms of the right arm. So I notice when you first start off, it's not going to be much going on, either far right or far left of the keyframes. Now, one thing I noticed that was kind of tough for me at first is how to move the this thing here, the timeline. In order to move the timeline, when you get into this zone here, you're going to depress the mouse scroll wheel, and that allows you to move the timeline. It took me a little time to figure that out, but didn't take me that long. So you have this little bar here. This is your playhead. As you can see, it's going to make the animation do what it does, show what it's animating. But the benefit of the playhead is also where you want to put your next animation. So as long as you have auto keying set up, wherever you put the playhead, and say you move to another angle or whatever with your animation, it will adjust and try to drop another keyframe. Boom. See that? Bam. So is that easy. You can play around, like I said, with, sorry, I had to move back a little bit because I got a little tired. My back is hurting a little bit. So I got to go to sleep. But you can play around with the graph editor to see what it does to the animations. Look at that. I'm pulling it and it just rotates the whole thing. So that's pretty interesting, what it does with the animation. But I guess the better you get with that kind of thing, you will improve on your animation capabilities and skills. I'm not that good at graph editing animations, so I don't really know what to do with it, but I'm going to experiment with this software because this, I'm telling you, this looks way more advanced in terms of, and way user friendly than what I've been doing with Blender. It is crazy. And I tried some other software out there, and it was just not really good at all. It was very hard for me to do animation with it. So I was like, nope, I'm not using this. Blender's not that hard for me because I've been experimenting and learning off of watching YouTube videos for years, but I'm just not that good at it. I just don't have the patience to get really good at it. Some people are really good at it, but I'm not good at it. I don't know why. But this one, I think I'm going to be really good at it. Because as you can see, I can really create animations fast, like super fast. Not just that, you can adapt something that was previously done. Very easy. So I just wanted y'all folks to see that. Let me just fix some of this. And let's see. Boom. That's that. I just created that. One thing with Blender that's kind of hard for me to figure out is how to change the origin point. Meaning if the character comes in as an animation at this particular point in space, when I try to move the character, it does not work out for me. Let's take off auto keying and see what this does. We're gonna move it and move it all the way to the left. If you do this on Blender, it's gonna pop right back. So let's see what it does. Yep, it pops right back. So that's one of the things I don't understand with animation software, is why it will pop right back. But the reason why it pops right back, what I did learn is that because it's a motion capture software file, all of the origins are predetermined. So that means that every animation is set up based on location. So every little animation point. So with Blender, the only way I believe you can change that is to use the I believe the NLA software tool. Hold on one second. What do they call it? The nonlinear animation. So the NLA, nonlinear animation, but I don't know how to use it that well. And I believe I learned how to do it in the past and then I forgot. So I just don't remember how to use it. But I can check it and look up tons of videos or videos that I used in the past and figure it out again in the future. But I just don't have time to do it. I'm bored messing with it and struggling to try to figure it out again, trying to figure out what I learned in the past. So that's kind of mind-boggling, because at one point I kind of gave up on using Blender to do animation, and I just was playing around with Mixamo files and all kinds of dumb stuff. I was doing a lot of dumb stuff pretty much before I got to MetaHuman character creation, and I was just playing around with other character creators, and it just wasn't working for me. It's taking too long for things to happen because I'm not an expert at it, obviously. So when you're not an expert and you don't learn more and you don't advance, you're not going to go that far with things. That's what I know. It's just like somebody who's not really that talented and they don't practice. If you're not talented and you don't practice, what's going to happen? Are you going to get better? Like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to go nowhere with your skill. Unless you have like some miracle happen and overnight you just got blessed with talent when you didn't have it. I mean, that just doesn't happen for most people. So there you go with that. And doing technology stuff, I believe that takes technological skills / creative ability / a whole lot of other things, like mental tenacity, all kinds of things. You have to have determination. You have to really, really be able to dig in where other people won't ever think of. And if you have none of that stuff, I wish you good luck, because I got a lot of that stuff and I still can't do a lot of things that I see other people do in the digital world. Like, it's just mind-blowing what some people can generate with their mind and with their tenacity, their mental tenacity. Some people are just tenacious and they just keep going at it. They do not quit. And they'll come up with something amazing. So that's all I got right there. It's not really much to offer, but it showcases that you can do something with animation with it. So say I wanted to export this to Blender, or go to export as FBX. I'm just giving y'all folks a dry run. I'm not doing anything in particular that really matters or makes sense or is functional in any way, because this is not functional for anything, obviously. So I'm going to save it over here. Got my default folder where I wanted it to go to. That's pretty cool. It stays stuck to the same default folder that you just recently used. And that comes in handy when you're trying to pipeline stuff fast. So here goes that other Blender that I had open, the other instance. We're going to import it. Go to FBX. Sorry. I just came off of a cold and it's not 100% out of my system. Plus I'm a little tired. So let's go to that folder. Tests and IMs. Second run. Hit the arrow, go to automatic bone orientation like I was talking about, and hit import. Talked about that all the way in the beginning of the video. And then we got these crazy bones again. So we're gonna go to edit mode, select, and delete those bones. I don't like those bones, so I'm gonna get rid of them. Delete that one and this one. Those are IK bones that they have offered up from the developer, because sometimes the Ue4 mannequins are used in video games. Well, most of the time they're used in video games, but nowadays people are using them for other reasons, like filmmaking and stuff like that, because Unreal Engine is now utilized heavily for filmmaking and things of that nature. Let's delete those bones. All right, all those are IK bones. I just don't want those. Got rid of all those. Don't need them. It goes to IK foot. I don't know why that is there, but whatever. Getting rid of those. Anything that doesn't belong, I'm getting rid of. Okay, so all those extra bones are out of here. And there goes the IK hand root. Get rid of that one too. I want them out of my way because I don't want to see them. I think that's annoying. So we're going to go to back to object mode. It's going to decrease size. And there we go. Still going to function even though those bones are missing. As long as the important bones are still there, your animation should still work. So we're going to hit play. And there we go. Very simple animation. Not much, but I upgraded it to some degree. And it doesn't really do that much. It looks very robotic, right? So that is something I would have to fix over on the Pixcap app. So that's not because of the Pixcap app. That's because of my lack in knowing how to use the actual tool to make the curves smooth and do all that stuff. So you have all kinds of different things over there that could make that work. So the tools are not limited over there, pretty much. You definitely can make things work much better. And say you wanted it to go longer in the animation, set this up for the end, make it at like 200. So from 0 to 200, it would keep animating. See that? So it went all the way to about 180 in the full animation. And it stopped around 180. And then you can change the FPS. So let's change it and you'll get to see. So we're going to change it to 24 because most animation files for like film and stuff like that are generally going to be set at 24. Most definitely character animations, I believe, is set at 24 frames per second. That's something that I learned recently from some folks who are into animation. Animators, pretty much. So we're going to hit play. And there you go. So now I'll move this over to Blender. We'll call it something different through the export process. So here we go. It's going to come up. And we'll call this run. Or not run. We'll just call it idle. I don't know. And save it. And then we're going to move that over to Blender. So you can see the difference in terms of the FPS. I just changed the frames per second. For those who don't know what FPS is, or frames per second, that basically is how fast or how slow the animation is going to run after you stored it and after you configured it. So when you send it to some sort of a pipeline tool like a 3D more of a game engine or a film type of software or whatever, it's going to play the animation at a certain frames per second. So it's going to play it faster or much slower or in the middle. So we're going to hit FBX, go for idle, and that's it. Everything's good. Import. And we will, I don't know if I can move it. I don't think I can move it, but one is going to play faster, one is going to play slower. And you'll see. Well, it didn't do it. So that one, you can't really tell actually because they're like superimposed on top of each other. Yeah, it didn't do it. I'm not sure why. Well, this one, it says 24 frames per second. Did I change that? That's probably why. All right, let's see this. I'm not sure if I changed that or not. I'll go back when I watch the video. I'll probably see if I changed it. I'm not sure. But other than that, this is the range of what it can do, but it can do more actually. That's just part of what it can do. So I'm gonna create more videos on it. But this is the hands portion that kind of blew my mind regarding the animation. So let's just rotate a little bit so you can see the hands, and I'll move the hands a little bit more zoomed in. They have this hands controls. So whatever animation file that you have built in that you chose to move in, it's going to select that one. If you add more additional ones, so let's go back to the library and say I wanted to add another character in. Let me add this Mr. Robot in there. Hopefully he got hands. All right, he got some hands. It's good. He's not in a good position. I want to move him. So let's go in the scene. Go to his bones and move him. There we go. So I use his hips because his hips is the center of gravity pretty much. Now, I don't think he's animated, so that's good. Now, what I was talking about is the hands. So say I wanted to play around with this hands type of module. What it does, it rotates the hands for you. So you don't have to go in and do anything to move the hands in terms of individual bones, but you can do it yourself, but you don't have to. So it makes a fist for you, which is pretty dope. Most other software, 3D software, don't do that. You have to have a hands rig pretty much, but this is automatically tied in, which is amazing how it works. I don't know how they did this, but it was something of a dream that I had, that I always wanted for my animations to be easily done, for the hands to be easily animated, and now I can do that. So you can do individual fingers. See that? So they showed this in their video, and then I learned about it, and I was like, wow, I definitely got to get this software. So it is mind-blowing. I'm telling you, this is mind-blowing that you can play around like that. So when you create your animations, you can do individual fingers, you can do all kinds of different stuff. Now, they do have motion capture suits out there, and most of the motion capture suits lack the hand motion capture. So it's only like the main body parts besides the fingers. So you can move the arms around, you can move the hands to some degree in terms of it moving around with the arm, but the fingers don't move. And the hands won't adjust mode. won't adjust much. So in order for you to move the hands, you would have to go and get a motion capture glove. So you got to actually get the gloves for a lot of these motion capture suits in order for you to make them work. But this, to me, will solve that problem, because if you really learn how to use this software here for Pixcap, if you got a motion capture suit, you can just go in and adjust the files, just the animations of the hands or how you see fit, and make the hands move the way you want to gesture them using like a Pixcap, using this Pixcap functionality. And it is mind-blowing. I'm telling you, you can do some amazing stuff if you take your time and build up those hand animations with the arm motion, how you see fit, and boom, you might not even have to pay all of that excess crazy money for it. So like I said, that's why I think the developers on this tool got something going that other software don't have. And this is a major league solve. So I think they should keep this part free. I mean, if they kill the free side on this part, it's really going to hurt their potential to really get a lot of people on here. I mean, they're going to get literally millions, but they can get over 1 billion users if they got enough people who are on the planet who feel the need to become animators. And the thing about animation today, I highly recommend for y'all folks to pass on this knowledge once you gain whatever animation knowledge you gain, because we're entering a phase where humanity is eventually going to be utilizing what is known as the metaverse. And if you don't know about the metaverse, you better go dig and find out about it, because it's coming upon us very strong, just like the internet hit us. And a lot of people wasn't aware of what the internet was when it first hit. And when social networking first hit, most people didn't understand it, didn't have a clue about it, but got swept into it. And how YouTube took off and a lot of these other networks took off, a lot of people had no idea that it was going to do that. And before it took off, there was people who were pretty much had the understanding of how a website worked and web development and stuff like that. So those people were the first to catch on. And people who were writing blogs, they learned about YouTube first. I was one of them who knew that YouTube was a earning place, a place where you can actually earn something on it, and you can cultivate your videos and things like that. So I learned as soon as I found out, I jumped on a bandwagon. So you don't want to be so far in the back of the pack of the millions of people who already became animators, and it's already done. It's a done deal. There's a lot of people who know how to animate now, as opposed to years back when it was very, very a low scale population, or segments of the population around the planet knew how to do it. So if you don't know how to do it, when it's time for the metaverse to be here, you're going to be left in the dust pretty much. And I don't want to be left in the dust. I most definitely want to have tools that help me to do it. And that's why I've been digging and trying to find stuff for years. I'm telling you, for years. And this is by far the best one that I've found so far. And this is their first iteration. So imagine what happens in 10 years if they still are out here doing it. Some software don't survive what they call scale. So when it scales up to like 1 million users, 2 million, 10 million, 100 million, some software just don't survive. Some companies get bought out. There's a whole lot of things that happen. Hopefully this company doesn't get bought out. And most definitely Apple needs to stay away from them. Because Apple be screwing up everything, man. Apple stole the damn from some company, I guess Faceware, or some company that's out there. And they stole the animation software by buying it out. I call it stealing. They bought it out, and now everybody has to use the iPhone X and beyond in order to use their capability, their technology that was built in. There was like some cloud point stuff that was used to track the facial shape keys and all that stuff for 3D animation. And it was some third-party software that pretty much came up with the capability, and then it was offered as a software package. So you would have to download it. You go online and you download it off of their website, and then you can use it on your computer. It was a dope solution for animation, for animators out there. And I believe it cost like $100 or something like that. It was very low priced. And you get it, and it would really do some amazing stuff. And at one point, I think they even offered it up for free. And people were doing amazing animations with the facial animations and stuff like that. And then Apple goes and just steals it from the online world, and no one else can use it after that. So I was like, what in the world? What did they do? So now it's built into their 3D depth sensing technology on the iPhone X and beyond. And that's why, like, when you're trying to use facial animations and you're going in, you got to use this 52 AR blend shapes and all that stuff. That's the reason why. If you're trying to do animations for facial, how would you say, facial mocap, motion capture, and you want to use like the iPhone to do it, that's the whole thing behind that. So yeah, this hand animation stuff is a big deal. So this is a huge solution, and I think it takes people to another level. Now, one of the things I wanted to show y'all folks with it, I apologize for talking about all that stuff, but if you switch, you hit this little down arrow and you switch to the next character's skeleton, it's going to go in and move the hands of that character. See that? So it looks like you can actually animate two characters at once. I don't know. I'm not sure. Hold on one second. Yo, is that Matt? Yo, what's going on, Matt? How you doing? Long time no see, bro.
It's only been like 2 weeks.
Yo, I'm doing some crazy stuff, bro. That's why I'm up so late. I'm busting into these animation tools, man, and doing some amazing things. Yo, it's good to see you.
Yeah, how you been?
Chilling, just trying to expand my knowledge and be able to do more things. Since I'm not in school, I have to keep myself educated.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in the 21st century, we only getting more advanced.
Exactly. Jumping into the metaverse and all that. So yeah, that's all I got, folks. I just wanted to show y'all folks this, and whatever other future videos that I come up with is gonna show y'all what I came up with. Let me close the door because my cousin just came home. He came home for Thanksgiving, so I just wanted to showcase that. Oh, one other thing I forgot to talk about. The motion capture part. So you can do that, but you have the 30 credits to start out for free. They call it 30 AI credits. So pretty much whenever you utilize either an image, so the image comes from the frames, the freeze frames of the AI, not AI, but the video. So say whatever video you have in here, it could be a sample video or a video that you imported. And I believe you can manage your videos through here. You click this manage your videos. I didn't even try this part because it's going to take away from your 30 AI credits that you have if you choose to apply a pose, I believe. Or if you store that pose and then send it to your character. I don't know how that works. Like I said, I didn't try it. You also have a video cap. So you can freeze frame. You can freeze frame a pose, and then when you do that and you apply it, it's going to send it to the character, and the character will actually adjust its pose. So I don't know which character it would send it to, but it shows here, it says rig. So you can send it to whatever rig that you want it to send it to. See? So that's the Dwarf Idol skeleton, and they got the Mr. Robot skeleton that I have in here. So that's that part. I don't know how many AI credits will go away based on the videos itself, but the image cap, if you do an image capture, it's going to be 1 AI credit per image. So whatever pose you want, say you wanted this pose and you apply it, it's going to take 1 credit away. So it's going to go down to 29. So all this AI credit stuff pertains to free starting out. So the 30 AI credits is the free version. If you're going for the paid version, let's see what the paid versions that they have. See if I can go to the website, hit the pricing. So here goes the freemium. So that's where this applies the 30 AI credits per, and this is per month. So every month you're going to get 30 AI credits. So if you use them all up in one night, that's it. You're done. So in order for you to get more, you can re-up. It's $5, I believe it costs per 30 credits. If you don't want to go for the professional or the studio type of thing. So that's how that works. With the professional, you get 200 AI credits. So that's pretty dope, because if you're trying to get, so you get 30 for free and you get 4 more, which would cost you $5, $5, $5, $5, so basically 4 times. You'll be spending $20, and if you multiply 30 times 4, that's 120. So you add it to 30, that's 150. So you're losing 50 credits if you don't go for the professional, for the $20 charge. And then you got the $40 charge. It looks like you're getting 3 times as much for the $20 charge, going for the $45 a month. So you're benefiting if you're going for a larger scale and scaling out. You're going to get many more credits. So that's how that works. And then it says need more information. We will help you choose the right plan for your team. Hit contact. Maybe you need more than that. I don't know. And that's how that part works. If you have any questions, you can go into all of these FAQ stuff. Now, I'm not part of this company, and I'm not actually sponsored by them. I'm just showing y'all folks how it works. So that's the whole thing about my channel. It's all about intel. So you get more information the longer you watch my videos, pretty much. So there you go with that. Let's go back. And so when you're creating your video, say not video, but your animation, and you say you're using VidCap, I'm not sure how it works, but you hover over here where it says a little tiny I, it will say more information about what that is. So it says the AI video output will be stored in the Mocap tab, which can be accessed by clicking on the Manage Your Videos button. So you click that, and then it will show up over here. This says reference videos, so you're not doing anything with that. You go to Mocap, and your Mocap files will show up in here once you got it completed. So for the video cap, this is per frame, I believe. So depending on how long your video is, the video that you're choosing to input, what it's going to do, it's going to calculate it based on frames. So I recommend for you to put a very short video to test and see how many frames that will cover, and that way you don't waste too much of your free 30 AI credits. If you're trying to use this full thing, this is 4 minutes and 80 seconds. If you use 4 minutes and 80 seconds for your video, you're really going to screw yourself. So what I recommend, see it says start and end time. If you want to test using the sample, just pull these pink bars in. That way, say you wanted to only use a small amount, hit the play button. Okay. It's going to keep playing, but for your video capture, it's only going to go from this point to this point. It's going to be a small amount. that's gonna pretty much add to your animation. So that might work for you, and you might not lose too much of the 30 AI credits. And in order to send it, you have to hit Run AI on video once you're selected in the video cap. Let's see, motion smoothing. You can check that out. Hit the tiny eye or hover over the tiny eye, and it tells you what that is. This animation layers and bone stuff, I played with that, but I don't know how that works too much. All I do know is that the hand motion will change up. And what happened to the other character? I don't even know. One of the characters went away. Oh, because this is not the same one. Okay, so I'm on a different I'm on a different project. This is the original project that I was working on, the first one. Okay, so let's scroll up real quick before I end the session. I just want to show y'all folks this part because I hit it. So I do know that it will adjust the hands. Look at that. It's adjusting the arms on this one. And I really don't know what the benefit is to having this. So I have to experiment this a little bit more. Yeah. So, and then this is the bones. If you hit it off, it shuts off the bones. There you go. Keyframe dialog. Select and add properties. We don't need that. So I don't know how that works either. But I'll figure this out probably by learning from the information that they have on the website. And I recommend for y'all folks, like I said, to go check out whatever they have to offer if you have any questions. And other than that, that's all I got. Oh, they also have the shortcut thing. So you can check the keyboard shortcuts. There's tons of keyboard shortcuts that help you to do stuff like if you want to undo. Usually undo on any 3D software is Control Z. So when you hit Control Z, it goes back. And it undoes what it previously did. And then redo is Control Y. Says Control Command, but there's no command button. It's Control and you press the Z. And then or press the Y. And other than that, that's it. I don't have too much else to cover. I'm going to be doing more videos, most definitely on this and showing folks how I could improve on my animations much further. And I'm going to learn a lot from their tutorials to be able to apply more skills because it's much more than meets the eye. You can use this IK, FK, FKIK stuff. You can create really nice FKIK controls pretty much. And it can help you to control the feet, to lock the feet down and to move the hands really good. So you want to lock the foot down to the floor, to this grid line, which represents the floor. You can do that. Say that the feet are moving all crazy and all that from another animation that you created, then you can fix it. But yeah, I'm out of here. Joe Love and Peace to all. Mike Pugh signing off. I'll see y'all folks in the next video, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And I am just so happy that I changed my channel name. I've been wanting to change it for years, but I just couldn't come up with a name. And who would have thought that I would have came up with Virtual Intel? I just never thought of it like that. But it took me a while. It took me like 3 days to figure out the name. I've been searching on YouTube day in and day out of different title names of things that people haven't used yet. And Virtual Intel, I believe I'm the first one to use that name on YouTube. Other than that, yeah, man, I'm out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.